We ask that you take guidance from other neighboring cities who have blocked 5G deployment, like Mill Valley, Burlingame, San Jose, and to push back on telecom's bullish instance and stand up for Simi Valley citizens. Furthermore, the proposed thousands of cell sites and antenna will clutter and pollute our beautiful city and parks. The aesthetic impact will be profound. There will be an increased potential for vandalism. We ask that you...
You've tuned into Stranger Than Fiction News, broadcasting live from the dark side of the planet. The suspected increase of vandalism is not the only thing that we should be worried about. The statistics that they're hiding from you are dastardly, to say the least. Cancer rates are spiking, brain cancer rates are spiking, and they're trying to sell the public like the average is just fine. But the more we look at the numbers, the worse it gets. This is a very damning infographic from a study called Phillips and all. This was listed in as brain tumors incidence of glioblastomas. Now, this graph is showing GBMs from 2011 to 2015 relative to that in 1995, 1999. So 95, 99 is when you had the first Nokias roll out. About 1 in 5 people had a cell phone back then. And compared to today, where everybody's got a smartphone and is being bombarded by death towers, we see 1% means, or 1.0 means it's the same as 1995. In every case, except for like, the newborns, supposedly, in every case, everything is above 1. In some groups, between, 5 to 10 years old here, it's nearly doubled. In age groups from 10 to 24, it's nearly tripled. And again, another peak around 29, 30, and then it really takes off by the time you're supposed to go into retirement. This is the eugenics program. So this is definitely a statistical anomaly, and we've got tons of graphs like this from research that has been scientifically peer-reviewed, but isn't getting the exposure it deserves. This is another study from the UK which shows GBMs going from, what is the metrics here, from 1995 to 2015. And they're showing rates per 100,000 people going from 2 to 5 on average. So that's well over double. That's well over double, ladies and gentlemen. We've got other ones where, in this study, it's showing GBMs of the frontal and temporal lobes, where you're getting the hit the most by the cell phone. A steady increase from 1995 to 2014 to 3.5 relative change. So the types of brain cancers are changing, and while survivability is increasing due to modern science, more and more people are being afflicted by this 100% preventable disease. And it's rather disturbing to see how it's striking young people the most. Whenever you see a child with a cell phone in their mouth, or placing a phone call, I mean, that's child abuse, to say the least. I mean, every time you make a phone call, that's like bullets penetrating your brain. It goes through everything. You're irradiating the entire house. You're irradiating the entire vicinity, and you can track all of that with a trusty EMF meter. We recommend the EMF 390, ladies and gentlemen, because it's so reliable and cost effective. It's 109 compared to $400-500 from the competitors. It blows away the competition. A whole lot more functionality. It's a tri-field meter, picks up electric, magnetic, and radio frequency radiation like no other. Don't get screwed by Home Depot with the El Cheapo that just does magnetic and electric fields. You want to know what the radio frequency radiation levels are in your area with all of these death pods, and it can change from street to street and 100 feet down the same street. These death towers create spotlights with these rectennas, and these spotlights are hot zones. We can't recommend the EMF 390 enough. For the price, it's a bargain. It's life-saving information. Everybody needs to know.
Identify more as a Democrat.
Would be fine with her.
And now we know why Trump is rolling out the 5G. It's part of the Beast system. He's called his new car the Beast. He wants to paint Air Force One in the inverted Trump plane colors, but we're not going to get into that. It's the story is bigger than one guy or gal. I mean, this is literally a eugenics program run by the Nazis. Follow the Nazi gold. People are confused about who the Nazis really are. They're still in charge, and it's not just Trump or the Republicans. It's not just Hillary and the Democrats or Obama. It's the entire skull and bones, beast system, and they're just two wings to the same bird. So there's no point in taking sides in this wrestling match. It's a fixed game. They're going by the script, but this eugenics program is part of the agenda. Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, Georgia Guidestones, call it what you want to. The numbers are clear, and we've got more of it. We've got more numbers, but I mean, just to go over here, definite huge increases in GBMs, that's glioblastomas, brain cancers, now compared to the dawn of the cell phone in the mid-90s. Huge, double, triple the numbers. We're seeing the incidence rate definitely climb in every Western country by 3, 4, 5-fold. And the types of brain cancers are directly linked to the cell phones. And, these latest studies from NIST absolutely prove beyond a doubt that RF radiation causes cancer. The control groups had 0 cancers, and then as soon as they got exposed to wireless radiation, boom. So and these things are going up everywhere. People need to stop the rollout of 5G in their town. In the intro, you saw people showing up at city council saying we should be more like these cities that are stopping the 5G. And there's many cities in America, many cities in Europe. You've got Brussels, you've got Geneva, you've got Portland, Oregon, you've got Mill Valley, California. A couple others as well. You can get this organized in your town. Start, finding your friends, make some billboards, go to the mall, the street, the campus, the city council, get on the news. Nobody wants this in their neighborhood. You don't want this in your front yard. It's not for me, it's for you. And, what'll motivate you more is getting a meter. And knowing the risk is what you want to do. You don't want prolonged exposure day and night. It's one thing to get beamed, every once in a while. It's another thing to be sitting in a hot zone. And if you work in a hot zone, live in a hot zone, you need to move. You need to move. You need to get your kids out of there. You need to be proactive and not reactive to this situation. I know we've got some more graphics. We've got another important study that we want to show you here. And I'm not sure how well this is going to come out. Let's see if we can blow this up a little bit. But this was an extensive study on brain cancers now and then, and that's what they're trying to hide from you, now and then. Every once in a while you'll see a graph that's just like, steady on the baseline, like no change. That's not true. It has changed significantly. And here in a couple studies, they looked at U.S. all ages for benign, malignant, and primary brain tumors from 85 to 89. And the rates were, depending on the studies, the research papers they were looking at, 97 per 100,000 to as low as 29 per 100,000 people, up to 130 per 100,000 people, which far exceeds what other countries were seeing already at that time. Now today, something more recent, from the 80s to 2004, 2005, it's gone up to 221 per 100,000. And in fact, when we look at all of the other studies, it's increased significantly. There really isn't one study where it doesn't say that the numbers haven't increased.
I probably identify more as a Democrat.
I know we've got some other graphs here that are interesting. Thyroid cancers are related to cell phone use and exposure to radiation as well. Those numbers have climbed since the 1970s. Is it Fukushima? Fukushima was right around here in 2011, way towards the end of the graph. It was already going up quite a bit since then. Seems like it started going up a little bit after Chernobyl. Was it that or something else? Specialists say that a lot of thyroid cancers are caused by cell phone radiation. Here's a number. Here's another real interesting number, or graph, we should say. Age of diagnosis, male, female. On the x-axis, y-axis is the average number of new cases per year, and then rated per 100,000 in each age group. And you can see that we're already at the youngest ages. We've already got cases of like 10 cases per 100,000 people at the youngest ages. We should have brought a pointer so that we can kind of just cross-reference the left and the right y-axis here. But these numbers are staggering. And look, the more we look at this particular comparison between the old and the new, as far as what was going on in the 70s and 80s compared to today, the numbers have tripled. And what's interesting is that most of the propaganda that you're seeing, released from the government is that, oh, everything is okay. It's not okay. And these things are definitely a killer. And if it wasn't for the fact that it's big business, it would have been, it obviously would have been outlawed long ago. But they need this for their plans. And we need to stop it if we're going to survive as a race. You've seen what they've done to the animal species out there. They've pretty much wiped out life on Earth as we know it, this beast system. And they're not going to stop with plants and animals. They're going to exterminate everyone. Be sure to check out our archives for more on the eugenics programs. And be sure to check out the references to these products in the video description. You definitely want to pick up an EMF 390 before it's too late. Long-term exposure is where it's at. So that's what all the studies say. Limit your long-term exposure. Know what you're getting dosed with. It's not just because there's a tower nearby that you're in the hot zone. They create spotlights like a flashlight. And each rectenna creates a spotlight, and you don't want to be in that spotlight. And you've seen how many rectennas are on each tower. They're each creating a spotlight somewhere. And usually it's like, it's a choke point where traffic gets congested. It's a parking lot where people have to shop. It's a school where they bring the kids. It's the playgrounds. It's the gas stations. And not all of them, but some of them or most of them. And if you're in the big city, it's pretty much, you're getting dosed everywhere. But, your averages can be between 500 microwatts and 30,000, 40,000 microwatts. Big difference even in the big city. You want to get one of these EMF 390s before it's too late. Check it out. Until the next time, ladies and gentlemen. Every death tower out there surpasses Bioinitiative safety standards. The question is, do you live in a hot zone? With the GQ EMF 390, you can see the dangers before your very eyes. You'll see who's getting dosed, and you'll be able to discover the hidden dangers lurking in your home. EMF 390 detects electric fields, magnetic fields, and RF radiation. These death towers are not safe, and everybody knows it. For full specs on the EMF 390, visit our product page. The link will be in the description. It's only about $100. It delivers the information you need. You'll never leave home without it. The GQ EMF 390. If you're listening to this, you are the resistance.